Since the dawning of time, it's been common knowledge that the quality of any tape deck is determined solely by one factor and one factor only. So let me guess. Auto reverse. Nope. Dolby noise reduction. Nope. VU meters. Nope. Number of heads. Nope. The Nakamichi Dragon. Nope. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, but nope. The number one determining factor is actually how fast the tape door opens, obviously. A nice, slow, easy opening door meant your machine was of a higher quality, while a fast opening door meant it was probably a sound design or some knockoff flea market deck. The mechanism which allows the door to slide open nice and easily is usually a gear that is press fit onto a small shaft and applied with a special type of grease to increase the rolling resistance, giggity, of said gear. This gear is actually called a rack and pinion, kind of like the rack and pinion on the steering of your vehicle. See how it all comes together? It's automotive and audio. So I guess you could say this part right here would be the rack. And this is the most common, actually, form for these soft close mechanisms that I've ever seen. But then this would be your pinion. And what that is that's just a gear that obviously spins. And I don't know what they do to actually increase the rolling resistance of that. I don't know if it's a bunch of grease that they glob in there, if it's designed some way internally to make it not just roll really fast, kind of increase the resistance. I'm not sure what they do. If anyone out there knows, go ahead and put them down in the bleep loops. I would love to. I learned so much from you guys. I really appreciate you. So this is pretty much the main style of the soft close that I see, but it's not the only kind. There actually is another kind, and it's very, very interesting, and it is genius, genius, genius. Asopeo. So yeah. So instead of going with the old rack and pinion system, Pioneer actually used this funky doohickey right here. This actually, instead of working on the rack and pinion system, actually works more like a cylinder or a syringe. So the one side, or the plunger, if you will, of the syringe is actually connected to the door. And then when we look over on the other side, you can actually see the cylinder part. But you may notice something. This little screw right here, that little screw does something very, very interesting. So I guess to better demonstrate this, I will use this self-mixing epoxy that I have. So this part right here is actually the plunger, and there's always, a type of grommet or something to make that tight. So when you push on this, the pressure will actually push out. So the tip here, we'll go ahead and call that the valve. That's pretty much acting as the screw, the end of the cylinder, where air or whatever has to go out of. But what they did is they put the screw there, and so pretty much just by turning that screw right there, you can dictate how much air it lets in and out. Pretty much like a valve, I guess. And so to demonstrate this, I'll go ahead and hit eject. Wow, that is luxurious. But now, let's go ahead and let's loosen this up just a couple of turns. Nothing too, okay, it's fine. Nothing too crazy, but you see? I'll go ahead and we'll give her a couple more turns out. Slotted screwdriver on a Phillips fastener, that's fine. Look at that. That is pretty quick. Now we'll go ahead and let's see if we can make it a sound design. Kind of leery of taking the screw all the way out, but let's see what that does. Whoa! Yeah. I mean, I guess I could see where this would come in handy if, somebody was playing tapes for a crowd or something and didn't have time to wait for the door to open and wanted to switch them out as fast as he could. Something like that. But me, I like it to open nice and slow. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to put it all the way in just about. Probably, you don't want to go too far, mess up the threads in there, or, bad things happen. Yeah, that's how you know you made it. So I actually thought that that was pretty interesting. Shoot down in the comments if you guys have any more information about that cylinder type slow close or slow open mechanism. So the second half of this video is actually going to be just a video reply to a comment, or actually a question that I had from, I think it was Leonardo Rodriguez 1297. Good strong Irish name, that's why I remembered it. So basically in a nutshell, what he was saying was that he's pretty sure that he lost the spring for his eject mechanism. And so basically it's not very easy to get to. I can't even really show you right here. You'd never see it. So what I guess we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this back little plate off, which that little yellow sticker is on. That'll give us a little bit more access. But what I think we're going to have to do is actually take this whole front plate off, which is really no big deal. But go ahead and run through that, and hopefully we can help Leonardo out. Alright, so the first step, like I said, we're going to be taking this little back panel off of there. This is actually quite easy. If you see, there's these little tabs here. I believe the ones on the, well, nope, the ones on the outside are the ones that all you do is you just kind of pry one up. Well, try to get two apparatuses, and then get one side up. Actually, that actually worked. And then go ahead and do the other side. Oops. So I guess maybe we'll try opening it first, but pretty much you just want to get that one up. I like to take something, kind of put it behind it, so you can see it's kind of already out, and then go on this side and see how it just kind of like popped out there. I should be able to just, yep, take and pop it out the rest of the way. This will give us a much better view of what's going on inside there. So yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead, and I can get a pretty good view of it, but to get a better view, and if you're going to actually want to repair this, I think the best bet is going to be to take the front cover off. Go ahead and take your knob off. I think the knob is the only thing that has to be removed, because everything else fits kind of around all of the switches and knobs and door and all of that. But basically, to take the top off, is there's 3 screws in the back, one there, one there, one there. The rest is just clipped into the front metal clip. Metal clips. Very well made. But to take the front plate off, which is just only, you know, the silver part of the front plate, is there's 3 screws on the bottom. I think that's all that holds it on. So I'm going to go ahead and take those off, and then, yeah, we'll take it off. Okay, so voila, they're removed. I'm pretty sure now, this is not going to work one-handed. Oh, they're clipped in, so I'm going to have to put you down. I will be back. Okay, so just take a little screwdriver and press those in, and then you kind of pop the one side out. Now on this side, kind of the same thing, just push in right. This is very hard to do one-handed. Should be able to just kind of push these in. Yes, I had a go-gurt, sorry. There we go. I know, just all in the way, giving you the best shots possible. That's how we do it here. So this probably didn't really help too much. Oh man. To take this whole plate off, that's gonna suck. Actually, you can see the bottom of it there. Okay, so actually, I think I figured it out. Pretty much on all these cassette decks, you could just kind of pull this up and out. You see there's 2 little tabs, and they go on those little tabs. But anyways, I noticed that I could actually you could be able to fix this by doing these steps that I had just said. You can see right here is where the spring actually goes up to the door. It's not going to focus. But right down here in real life you'd be able to see it. I will point with a pointer right there. Is where it wraps around, kind of coils around onto the bottom of the door. And then it goes right through there. I will do another pointer. There's a little slot. I think you could fish it back in through here. And I think it might take, a half an hour, but I think you could figure it out. So, yeah, just figured I'd mention that step. While we're here, let's go ahead and just marvel at the beautifulness of this old Pioneer deck. She's a fancy going to town rig. She's got Dolby, she's got everything. I don't even know what half this stuff does. Yeah, so there's the back of the mechanism. Look at the size of that flywheel. You could definitely do damage with that flywheel. I'm not going to say it for obvious reasons, but yeah, just this thing. I love this tape deck. It's made so well. But Leonardo, I hope that helped you out. And that's kind of what I do here, just leave a comment and I will do a whole entire video on it. But no, that's what I try to do. I'm here to help. We are Blown Capacitor Automotive and Audio, and we do both automotive and audio and everything in between. No, nothing in between. But yeah, if you got any questions, comments about literally anything, put them down there. I do my absolute best to answer everybody's questions, and no question is too dumb. Don't worry about asking dumb questions because that's how we learn. But in any event, it's good to see you guys. I know it's been a long time. Sorry about that. But this is usually the end part where I start rambling and shaking the camera all over. But, yep, just wanted to say good to be back. Finally jumped on the monetization train. So if you guys want to subscribe. All I did was the supers. I don't really get the memberships or anything like that. But if you feel so inclined, it's for a good cause. I try to help out as much as I can. So, yeah, drop a comment, leave a like, subscribe, whatever.
And I'll see you in the next video.
Yep, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks,
Bye.
guys. Thanks, guys. Bye.